Thank you for joining us today on Cosmic Convergence. My name is Daniel, and we'll be going over Psyops. A big shout out for Kelly Chase on Cosmosis for their episode UFO Narrative Wars, which we will link below. For those who don't know my background, I am a lifelong experiencer, field investigator for MUFON, and was a remote influencer for 4 years dealing with criminal groups and trafficking. If you are new to the UFO UAP space, then you know that we have a huge amount of whistleblowers coming forward, along with information about possibly where these craft are coming from. Or lately, the claim that Tic Tac UFO is being Lockheed. But this back and forth is not new, and often it is used as a controlled pressure release. As we move forward towards the secret world coming clean, or at least what it appears, we have to go in as skeptical as we are curious. Let's get in. The truth is out there, but so are lies. X-Files. The UFO phenomenon is real. The secrecy around what it is real. But the disclosure narrative we've fed carefully dripped to us through insiders, whistleblowers, and dramatic hearings, and the quote leaked footage might be something else entirely. Behind the scenes, there's a deeper game at play, one that causes psychological operations, psyops, and carefully managed belief systems to protect secret far larger than UFOs themselves. Project Blue Book, 1947 to 1969. What it was. Official U.S. Air Force program was to investigate UFO sightings. While Blue Book had legitimate scientific elements, it classified documents showing a large part of its purpose was to control public interest, downplaying UFO incidents and debunking credible witnesses. It was to neutralize panic, conceal advanced aerial tech sites like the U-2 spy planes, and redirect speculation away from classified programs. What is its relevance? Classic example of using the UFO narrative was a cover story, manipulating belief through official denials and selective leaks. MKUltra, the CIA 1950s through the 1960s. The CIA's infamous secret mind control research program ran illegal human experiments using LSD, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and other methods, often without subjects' consent. What was its purpose? To test methods for interrogation, brainwashing, and behavioral control. It also explored if psychedelics could be weaponized. What is the relevance? It proves the intelligence community spent decades studying how to manipulate belief, perception, and behavior, the very definition of a psyop. And when people today say that, quote, that sounds like a conspiracy theory, they forget MKUltra was real. NICAP, 1956 to 1970s, influence. NICAP was one of the first major citizen UFO research and lobby groups in the U.S., founded in 1956 by Major Donald Kehoe, a former Marine pilot and aviation writer. NICAP aimed to pressure the U.S. government to disclose what it knew about UFOs. By the late 1950s and 1960s, it had thousands of members, including credible ex-military pilots. NICAP was extremely influential and produced congressional testimony, press releases, and a book that shaped how Americans thought about UFOs. How is it infiltrated? Declassified records and credible UFO historians have shown that the CIA kept a close eye on NICAP and quietly inserted people into its leadership and staff. For example, NICAP's board of directors included Roscoe Hilton Kosher, very first director of the CIA. He served as NICAP's chairman for years, and while he publicly supported disclosure, his real role is murkier. Some researchers believe his presence helped monitor, steer, and limit its pressure on the government. Additionally, Donald himself later claimed that internal sabotage, infiltrators, and financial manipulation effectively collapsed NICAP by the early 1970s, exactly when the public pressure on UFO secrecy was peaking. UFO historian Richard Dolan declassified CIA documents confirmed the agency was deeply concerned about the UFO investigation stirring up panic or exposing classified projects just like U-2 or SR-71's flights. NICAP was obviously pressure point to monitor and influence. The role of UFOs. For decades, UFOs have served two parallel purposes. One hand, they point to the phenomenon that resists easy explanation. People see things in the sky that they cannot identify, experience encounters that defy our understanding of physics or reality itself. On the other hand, UFOs have always been a useful tool for governments and military contractors. They create the perfect cover story for convenient fog that hides classified aircraft tests, covert technology, surveillance platforms, or other programs that the public should never see. The hidden hand, the intelligence community. The uncomfortable reality is that the same people we look at for, quote, disclosure are often the very people trained and in some cases legally required to mislead us. People in these roles aren't just allowed to lie to you, in many cases they're required to. Secrecy isn't just about hiding facts, it's about shaping what the public thinks is true. Quote, the UFO phenomenon has always been used in the intelligence community as convenient cover for all kinds of other things they were trying to hide in black budget programs, directed energy weapons, and psionic weapons. Kelly Chase. The secret onion. A key metaphor from this new framing is the secret onion. We tend to imagine secrets as hidden behind a locked door. Break in and you get the answers, but the real secrecy is layered. First, it's our outer layers. Public UFO sightings, sensational whistleblowers, and dramatic hearings, enough truth to just keep us invested. The internal layers. Compartmentalized, black projects, advanced technology, or operations that rely on the UFO story as a smokescreen. At the core, the actual programs are often so deeply hidden that even most insiders see only fragments. One former insider, Hal Puthoff, even described this decades ago, recommending an onion skin, quote-unquote, structure where every layer hides one beneath. The public face is just a carefully constructed illusion. Classic tactics, limited hangouts. When a secret is too big to hide forever, intelligence agencies don't just bury it, they will leak part of it, themselves on their own terms. You will get just enough of the truth to feel satisfied, but the rest stays buried. Think of the Pentagon UFO video that hit the New York Times in 2017. 3 grainy clips that confirmed the U.S. military did indeed track unidentified aerial phenomenon. It was real, but also sanitized. No deeper detail, no clear admission of origin, no real accountability. Quote, a limited hangout is a carefully managed leak of information designed not to expose but to contain. Kelly Chase. Disinformation. 80% true, 20% poison. Another Psyop tactic. Mix truth and lies so effectively you cannot separate them. The intelligence community calls this the 80-20 rule. 80% true, real witness, real documents, authentic photos. 20% false, one forged memo, one fake detail. That 20% can collapse an entire narrative, discrediting the real evidence by association. Example 1 from UFO history is Richard Doty, an Air Force officer who famously handed respected researcher Linda Moulton Howe a folder of explosive documents about crashed UFOs and non-human beings. Some of it was real, but some of it was fake. Years later, Doty admitted he didn't even know which parts were true and he was just following orders. Example 2. Recent events with Lou Elizondo showed 2 fake photos of UAPs. These were given to him, One was a reflection off of a building window, and the other was a crop circle from above. Whether that was due to Lou personally knowing it was fake, or he was just giving that as an example without vetting, it still serves disinformation. The heroes and villains, the performance. The UFO community is a stage. People want heroes, brave insiders who leak the truth. They want villains, government shills, cover-up artists, but the entire cast is often part of the same script, whether we know it or not. In wrestling, this is called kafabi, the secret agreement that everyone pretends a fight is real, even though it's a show. Quote, in the UFO world, kafabi keeps the drama alive. Heroes are built up only to fall to take real truths down with them. End quote. Time and time again, we see this. Whistleblowers get a spotlight, then self-destruct under contradictory claims. Leaks appear real until they collapse under one false detail. Researchers often turn on each other, fighting about credibility, not facts. The noise becomes the point. The final target. You. In the end, the biggest battlefield is not in the skies. It's in your mind. Belief is the most powerful tool of all. No one can psyop you harder than you can psyop yourself. We crave answers. We want to believe, so we cling to stories that make sense, ignore the contradictions that don't fit into our preferred reality. And this is why secrecy works so well. It doesn't have to hide the truth perfectly, it just has to make it exhausting to find. So what do we do? So here's the uncomfortable truth. Disclosure isn't coming from them. If you're waiting for someone with a clearance to hand you the ultimate answer, you're playing into their game. The only antidote is discernment and intellectual sovereignty. Stop outsourcing your belief. Sit with uncertainty in the liminal space. And also ask yourself, who benefits from this narrative? Remember to map stories, don't just believe them. Back up the claims. Don't just go with videos that you might see off of TikTok or Instagram or other places, but look to see where the source is. Build communities that care more about questions than heroes. And this is why it is extremely important that we all do our due diligence to be investigators. Whether you are an experiencer or you are an investigator with an organization, you have to. There's too much information out there to pretend that everything that we're given and fed is legitimate. The UFO phenomenon is real, and it is elusive and personal. The psyops around it are also real, and the only way out is not blind belief, but radical curiosity. The truth doesn't leave in a leak, a Pentagon hearing, or a retired spook's testimony. It lives where it always has been, out there, in the sky, in the woods, in the edges of experience, and in here, in your willingness to think for yourself.
Bad monkey.